Okay, call the meeting to order, and I'd like to acknowledge the students that are in the audience, and glad you're here. Jen, would you take roll, please?
Commissioner Delzer?
Here.
Commissioner Erickson? Absent. Commissioner Waldner?
Here.
Commissioner Abraham?
Here.
Mayor Lindsay?
Here. Before you have the agenda of October 7th, are there any additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 7th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You also have in front of you tonight's agenda. The only thing I would mention on here, and it does not require an adjustment in the agenda, is that number 4 on here is an acknowledgement, and it's listed under new business and that, but we'll just, when we get to that point, we'll just acknowledge it. So if there are no other additions or corrections, we'll,
Make motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. On here, the application for temporary alcohol license from the Knights of Columbus, which is for November 1st. We want to acknowledge in that their application, and then also set a date of hearing for the public of October 28th, 5:35 p.m. So we'll acknowledge it now, and then we'll set the date when we get down here further. We can do both same way? Same time? All right.
Make a motion to acknowledge the request from the Knights of Columbus and set date of hearing for October 28th at 5:35.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Authorize the mayor to sign a change order for the water treatment plant improvements for 2013. And I would ask Chad if he would like to adjust that.
Can we, yeah.
Old.
Sorry about
old
that.
business.
I stepped right past that. Old business, we do have the second reading of ordinance number 1547, consuming alcoholic beverages in unlicensed public places or motor vehicles. And this is the second reading where we have added the fire hall as a location and that where people can get a alcohol license and that if they are having a graduation or a party.
It's actually a permit, not
Permit.
necessarily a license.
Very good.
So, and for the audience, for the students, we've had on our books an ordinance that, you know, it's illegal to consume alcoholic beverages in our city parks and city buildings. And this is a kind of a language cleanup where we did not have the fire hall was not included in this. And so now, and we know that we have a lot of graduations and different things that go on there. It's a good facility for that. It's nice to help out the community, you know, with that room. And so we needed to add that building. And one other quick thing is that in order to do this, citizens, what they do is they basically get a hold of the police department, and then the chief of police has to approve it, and then also the public safety commissioner also has to approve the permit.
Okay.
So with that, I will acknowledge the second reading of ordinance number 1547, consuming alcoholic beverages in unlicensed public places or motor vehicles.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Authorize mayor to sign change order number 1, water treatment plant improvements 2013. And again, I'll ask Chad.
Thank you, Your Honor. I had worked with Fred and Banner and some of Fred's staff down at the water plant in looking closely at some of the discharge piping that comes out of the water plant. We're replacing some of that with this project this year, and we thought it'd be appropriate to make a few changes. We're going to upsize the pipe that will eventually go to the west to fill the west tower. This will do a couple different things. It'll provide better for our future water demands and upcoming distribution system piping improvements, basically on 4th Street. We're gonna take that from a 10-inch to a 12-inch. And then it'll provide some additional reliability to fill the west tower. Currently, it's filled through a 10-inch line that goes along 4th Street and then up Union. It'll also provide, in the interim, before we have to replace any water tower or the west tower, it will provide some ability, improved ability to split and have 2 different pressure zones to fully utilize both towers appropriately. And that's really the main changes. It also does provide some potential, some Ts in the line instead of 90-degree elbows, so that if we have some increased water demand, most particularly in the Lakeview Industrial Park or something where we have to run an additional line with a heavy water user, we can just tie into a T rather than an elbow, and such would be minimal disruption. And so we've coordinated to make sure that that makes sense for the city, and we would recommend that we proceed with this change order as it's listed. So a lot more of the details are provided if you wanted or had an opportunity to look at that. I can elaborate on those, or if you wish at this time, or if Fred has any comments either, that would.
I read it all made sense to me. And especially, I thought it was very good for the minimal cost.
Right, yep. That's a change order would be $5,041.20.
I would make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign change order number 1 for the water treatment plant improvements 2013 in the amount of $5,041.20.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approve volunteers for the Lake County Electronic Recycling Drop-Off Event. And the main reason we need to do this, and that is, once we have a list of volunteers and they've been approved, if someone should get injured or drop something on their foot, and that they would be covered under our workman's comp. And the date of that drop-off for recycling is October 19th. So it's coming up soon from 9 to 3.
This is the Madison High School
Culinary arts.
art
Correct.
students.
Make a motion to approve the volunteer list for the Lake County Electronic Recycling Drop-Off Event.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Approve the purchase of a Craftco pothole patcher. And I'll ask Fred if he would like to speak to that.
Thank you, sir. This is the patcher that I discussed with all of you during the budget time. This uses a liquid or a mastic block. It's similar to our crack router. So it's a self-contained trailer that you just drop the blocks in, heat it up, and you can go out and actually, patch potholes with it. The product's really good product. Relatively self-leveling. As soon as you get it laid down, it's got a quick cure time on it, so we can get some of these potholes that we're experiencing here in town. So the price on that is $4,000 less than I actually put in the budget, so the bid on that through state of Minnesota is actually cheaper than I anticipated.
And we are coming off from an existing bid, and the paperwork has been approved, so we should be ready to move forward.
Did we get lucky? Isn't it in Sioux Falls right now, too?
It's actually, it's sitting in Sioux Falls right now, believe it or not.
I got lucky with that, no shipping.
It wasn't designated as ours. I didn't pre-order anything. It just happened to show up with another machine just like it that's heading to Montana. So this was the extra one sitting on the lot. So if we get this approved tonight, we could probably have it by Tuesday or Wednesday.
Can we utilize it this
Pardon?
fall yet?
Yes.
What's the temperature?
I think we can. We can actually run that until we really get some inclement weather.
Okay. As long as
It's
it's
just-
dry.
Yeah, it works really well. In other applications, when you use hot mix, we've got to, make sure the hole's clean and actually spray that out, with some oil to make sure everything sticks. Bring out the roller and the whole 9 yards. With this, we won't have to do that. And their demonstration was actually just sweep it out and turn this stuff loose on the pothole, and it takes care of it.
How's the product cost?
Product is 69 cents a pound.
So how does that relate to, say,
Now,
asphalt? or coal
2,250 pounds, it's relatively close. It
Okay.
is. It's not.
It's not
rated.
crazy high?
No, it runs about the same as our crack fill material. So, and we're accustomed to picking that up by the pallets, so.
So it's different than that, so it's different?
No, it's just a different material. It comes in the same form. It comes. in
Yeah,
a-
but it's not like we can buy the same blocks and use them in both?
No,
Both,
no.
okay. And it doesn't go bad?
It does not go bad. It's got much better adhesion than the cold mix that we're using, during the winter time. I mean, not that we won't use some of that, but we can limit that amount of that we use. So,
Put on the record, Fred said it never goes bad, so when he puts it on the ground, we'll never have another pothole.
I think he meant that a little bit differently.
I know, I did
Isn't that how he
say
said
that.
The product, we can buy product and store it for a period of time.
Yes, we-
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that one. I like that. That version's better.
Yeah,
Compared to the
the
old
product can be
product.
stored longer than what we had been using,
Leave it
yes.
to the police commissioner to actually come up with something that would jam it up. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. With that, I'll approve the purchase of the Craftco pothole patch equipment, machine.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Bills for approval, bills for ratification, and I'm going to ask Jen to speak to this before we move any further.
On the schedule of bills for approval, just a couple of minor changes. Our Infotech bill went down a little bit, and I'm going to pull the Southeast South Dakota tourism bill that was listed there. I'm gonna pull that completely. So your new total to approve tonight is still $1,140,587.85, please.
Make a motion to approve and ratify the bills.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We also have some personnel issues and that are attached. Or is there any questions or discussion?
Make a motion to approve personnel.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Announcements and other business. We have the Highway Safety Program Grant Award, and I'm going to ask Mr. Waldner if he'd speak to that.
Absolutely, thank you. We're very fortunate in Madison. Chief Paulford is, he's very good at finding grants and finding money that's available from various means, including the federal government as well as state and that. This particular one, Officer Talek is the project director of it and did some work on it. And what this particular one does is it allows for some overtime monies to be paid to our officers to do increased traffic patrol. So they will be doing specifically looking for people that are speeding, people that are seatbelt violations, equipment violations, headlights, taillights out, those kind of things. And so, Delzer, you'll have to slow down, I guess, so. But basically, as it sits now, in our budgets, I mean, it costs quite a bit of money to pay people overtime to do those type of things. And it also allowed us to buy some equipment. Now, in the past years, if you all notice up on 9th Street, you have the sign that flashes if you're going over 20, the speed board. This particular grant bought that device. This year, however, we are going to be buying a new radar gun for one of the vehicles. And so I'm not going to tell you which vehicle, all right, but it's going to help out in that regard as well. And so typical 80-20 match, and it's all in our budget and everything. So works out pretty well. And again, the bottom line is just to keep our cities safe and safer.
And the nice thing about that speed limit, one up there. Is, through the summer, people were used to coming in by the elementary and just cruising right along, and now that kids are up there and there's a lot more activity and that, it's just a nice reminder, just reminding people that, hey, you're coming into an area where it's time to slow down.
Yep.
So, all right. Any other discussion? Okay. Then we also have on here an executive session. So if we have no other further business, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Again, I want to thank you for joining us this evening, but when we go into executive session, it's for business for the city that is not necessarily ready to be public yet. So I want to thank you for coming.